this sense of unity after something so terrible. It seems to be working, and I'm trying to understand it.
People can go to the worst and can actually recuperate back from that broken society and not stay held down by their history.
This country, Rwanda, has had one of the most improbable stories. Forgotten by the international community, the country has risen from the depth of death and despair to reach outstanding heights of reconstruction. From hopelessness to optimism, the story draws students and scholars active in the field of post-conflict study to decipher what exactly happened and what the world can learn from that country.
I decided to come here to learn about what happened here and about the initiatives that came after and about reconciliation and peace, so I can learn about it and translate it to my country and other countries that need to fight for peace.
I have a friend of mine, her mom was a Tutsi, her dad was a Hutu, and then the dad killed her mom during genocide. After genocide, the dad was jailed, so she's there, she doesn't know where to belong. So those are things that Rwanda is facing now. I think it takes many years. You can't wake up in the morning and say there is a full healing.
One of many actors on this reconstruction landscape happens to be a peace-building and social justice organization, Never Again Rwanda. In 2008, this body initiated the Peace-Building Institute, a 2-week biannual program that brings together young people from all corners of the globe.
The Rwandan people have tested the bitterness of not having peace. We desired to see a society that would enjoy sustainable peace.
It's not only about providing them with knowledge and skills, but also self-reflection on how they can be able to improve their lives based on what they see outside or in their surrounding environment.
Their exchange builds a global network of peace builders committed to speaking out against human rights violations and taking action to build sustainable peace.
To me, PBI is it's more than just a school. The PBI explores the part of school which is left out, but which I feel is really supposed to be an integral part of our education.
It really made me evaluate a lot of things like forgiveness, things like reconciliation, trying to really understand what those two things mean.
The reconciliation initiatives and process in Rwanda draw people to this country, but there are many others. These participants come to Rwanda expecting to satisfy their curiosity, hoping to widen their world and enrich their knowledge with regards to school and research work in post-conflict management and peace building.
It's the hardest thing to try to understand how it was possible for something to get that far. I wanted to focus on education in post-conflict countries. I wanted to help to develop the education system and build peace through education.
I was already working with students in reconciliation and peace education, so I felt this was a good chance for me to gain more knowledge and insights about peace building in a professional context.
The Institute and its managers make sure the aims and expectations of participants are integrated in the curricula for specific editions. Obviously, this has enabled the Peace Building Institute to always have an intake of passionate and enthusiastic young men and women.
When you're walking around now, it's very hard to imagine the kinds of realities that were happening then. The first day we went to Gisozi Memorial Site. That was really helpful because it had a timeline, it had a lot of information, but then it also had the personal stories. I think it really helped to draw you back into imagining what this place might have been like 22 years ago.
Back at home, you take peace for granted. I eat, I sleep, I wake up peacefully, and that's it. You don't really take initiative to keep that peace and harmony in the country. But after coming to Rwanda, after the field visit, especially at Kigali Memorial Center in Murambi, you get the real picture of what happened, and you learn genocide can happen anywhere.
We use site visits, complement it with lectures and discussions. If we just have lectures or classroom sessions and we don't take them to the memorials, then it will seem too theoretical. But then through the memorials, they're able to see the reality of what happened and actually learn from what happened.
In a society where more than 1 million lives were lost during the genocide against Tutsis, as the international community looked on, the question of responsibility to protect is very much discussed at PBI.
Some of the cases where we see international community trying to do their best. Who of you could tell us where Burundi stands today?
In spite of disillusionment with world solidarity, coupled with very few mumbled expressions of remorse after the facts, the memory of those lost has inspired the Kigali Principles, which aim to ensure effective protection of civilians in armed conflicts all over the globe.
All the signs were there. The answer that was very disappointing was that international community didn't do anything because they saw Rwanda as a failed state. They didn't have interest on it. So those kind of answer shows that there's a little that we could depend outside sometimes, while the signs were very, very clear from the beginning.
Genocide survivors, or the friends that I met who were genocide survivors during the PBI, like hearing their stories and hearing what they had to say about it and how they feel about prevention and how they feel about the reconciliation that's been happening, that was the most meaningful. You know, the Western world, they can have their theories, they can say whatever they want, but they weren't here. They didn't experience it. Their opinion has less value than the people who were actually here, actually experienced it, and are actually going through the reconciliation process.
Also, it is very clear that if clear measures were taken in regard to what happened in Rwanda in 1994, the genocide against Tutsis couldn't happen. Genocide is preventable.
Does the UN have the capacity to capture every criminal that is hiding in Mali, in Sierra Leone? That is number one challenge. Capturing them is not easy because you don't know where they are, and many of them have changed their identities. So you are trying really to look for them. It may take you years and years before even you identify one of those criminals you're looking for.
Yes.
Learning through the PBI curriculum is one thing. Doing something about it is another. The Peace Building Institute equips these young peace builders with the tools to make a difference, but in many instances, they go back home changed.
One of the resolutions I left PBI with was teach people about what happened to Rwanda. Very few young people in Rwanda know the Murambi Genocide Memorial Museum. And very few have visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial Museum among the people that I know. Some of them fear going there, others don't care, you know. So the resolutions I left this place with was to organize such events where I take people to museums to see actually what happened to us. So I've organized a few of those and they have been fruitful, I would say.
So with my peers, we sat down and we thought of a way we are going to engage these young people. We actually came up with this community-based organization called Community Voluntary Action Rwanda. We get these young people. We engage them to work for their community, to work for that health center. Because if I worked for this health center, I'll have good memories. So later in time, I won't destroy it. There's along the way of making sure that these young people understands and values what we've achieved, and then engaging them into working on these achievements because they will own this success.
If I had not gone to the PBI, I might not have joined Peace Corps, and I might not be in this wonderful place that I am now, having this fantastic experience. The best thing that I can do is to come to very rural places like this and work with the students. Even if I can get one student to not pick a fight with another student, just one, that's a win. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
I was appointed as a youth ambassador for the Rwanda Peace Education Program. I went to schools to speak about peace education. Went to different communities. I set up peace clubs in different organizations. One of the PBI alumni got a job in Peace One Day. It's a UK-based organization. I worked as the representative here. I think all these activities I've been doing after the PBI was actually a result of me going through the PBI.
In spite of the ever-increasing number of conflicts we see across the globe, the PBI and its alumni continue to strive for sustainable peace in the face of its challenges. Their advocacy, in its very different forms, is a contribution to the global peace-building process.
There's one lady, her name is Asha Kawala. She was a participant during the 2013 regional PBI. She was inspired by Rwanda's community model Muganda, and she started a replica of the same model in her community, but it was more of helping the vulnerable people, but on a monthly basis, but through that community outreach. Another participant from PBI is Victor Uhuru. He's a Kenyan. He developed a forum for students where they can address some of the issues they are facing. Basing on Rwanda's model, they feel like they want to bring something new.
I've never actually felt very attached to any country until I met people like Bonaventure and Desiree. So when the riots in Burundi started, they're the people that I thought about and I called them to check on them. It goes beyond learning to giving you opportunities to be an engaged activist.
The PBI shaped the way that I view conflict, it shaped the way that I view reconciliation and forgiveness, and it put me on the path to where I am now. If it doesn't bring you where I am, at least you've had a fantastic experience that you can share with people back in the States.
The Peace Building Institute gives young people the knowledge to change their respective societies. Let's keep in mind that the genocide against Tutsis in Rwanda was a crime against humanity. This very humanity, being interconnected and interdependent, comes alive again through such exchanges at the PBI. This network, beyond classroom experience, will forge bonds that will last a lifetime and change this world for the better.